He didn't beat about the bush, Trevor, did he? 4 words really from Mourinho, Simon, somehow, get on with it. It's as simple as that. So where do you stand? Parker's saying they wouldn't do this at top side. But Mourinho's saying, look, nonetheless, it's a game. Play it. Get on with it. What's your take on it?
That's an argument that gets trotted out all the time, isn't it? And one that you can never really defeat, because unless the top side's put into that situation, you'll never know that answer. I'm in the Mourinho camp, but I think he is also very adept at playing the media and reading the room at times, so he'll have come up with the right temperature for what he wants to say. But my reaction to Scott Parker kind of was, oh, shut up. It's less than ideal. We all know it's less than ideal, but shut up and get on with it. Really? Have some adversity. You want some adversity? Go look out the world. Open the window and look out at the real world and see what adversity looks like, because you haven't got the vaguest idea what adversity is. You've got to play 2 games in 4 days. Boo-hoo. Get on with it. Why don't you qualify it by... Why don't you just say, look, it's less than ideal, but we are where we are. Wouldn't that be more helpful? Wouldn't that send out a better message that the football industry really does understand that it's crap for everybody? And everyone's got to compromise, everybody's got to settle down, everyone's got to get on with the things that they don't want to get on with. But not football. It won't do that. Mourinho's taking an opportunity to play a certain role in this particular discussion. But I just think that sometimes football managers have got to grow up and understand the responsibility that they have. If they want to have a moan, go moan to the chairman. Go moan to the chief executive. Go moan to the wives. Right? Don't necessarily have to bring it into the media. And they don't have to answer the question. They can answer it a different way. What examples do you have to back up the sentiment of this wouldn't happen to Liverpool or Manchester United? Because we all
hasn't.
Well, okay, but when has it been put on their toes for a situation like this to have happened? Well, it's all well and good saying that happens, but when has it happened? Cite a particular example.
The proof is in the pudding, and I think we'll have to wait until towards the end of the season to back that up. But I don't think that will happen. I don't think the Premier League will feel strong enough to put Liverpool, Manchester City, or Manchester United, or some of the other big clubs in this position.
But people are advancing it as a fact. You're advancing it as a notion, and so is Scott Parker.
No, I didn't. I said I don't think.
Well, Scott Parker.
This will happen.
Well, you're supporting Scott Parker's assessment of things.
Because
normally when you rationalise an argument, it's because you can go to an example and you can say, this is the reasons why I have this vantage point. You have this vantage point for what reason? No example.
No, there's no example, Simon. I'm not saying there's an example, and I'm saying I don't think this fixture would go ahead.
But then it's a cheap shot, isn't it?
If it was, well, it's not a cheap shot. I've backed it up with many other things.
Well, no, hang on. We're talking about examples of clubs that are so-called bigger clubs that are given an unfair bias, whether it's penalties or whether it's fixture arrangements. I can accept that argument if someone says to me, and here's an example of it. But I think it's just an example of football trying to find a reason why somebody wants to justify not just knuckling down.
No,
it's an unfair world. But
I understand that, Simon, and the reason I'm saying it is because if you think about the due diligence that has to go in for the planning of a Premier League match, we're not talking about a Mickey Mouse, National League game. We're talking about in and out of possession strategy, set pieces, team selections, squad availability. We're talking about real planning. That can't be done, especially by one of the least experienced managers in the league in 48 hours. Now, what I'm saying is, and I back up Scott Parker's shout on this, the Premier League knew Villa had a massive problem.
So let me get this right. You plan for one game at a time, do you? Because my managers and other managers I'm
don't.
aware of looked at teams, know how teams set up, and they superimpose a team that's coming in. So what you're basically saying is that there's a prescribed amount of time for a manager to be prepared, rather than saying adapt to the circumstances, plan ahead, and be thorough in your preparation. That sort of thing cannot be legislated for. You can't plan ahead
because their next game was on Friday. So they may have played players for the whole game and extra time against Queen's Park Rangers in the FA Cup.
And Simon, is the point not that the Premier League knew about it on Friday? So why did
Parker
Parker and Fulham not know a lot?
The Premier League looked to Aston Villa, I suspect, for confirmation that Aston Villa still had the same ongoing situation that they had against whoever they played in the Cup, Liverpool. But I suspect they probably would have done because the situation hadn't moved. So yes, there is a case to say that the communication chain needs to be quicker and clearer and faster and more effective. But like Trevor says, to compare his example, because the Premier League's got to deal with 20 clubs, hundreds of fixtures and hundreds of changes. A football manager's got to deal with 1 or 2. So if the Premier League have got all of this on their toes, then it's reasonable to expect them to have the same work challenges as the managers have.
And what comes through loud and clear, Ian Dugan, one of many people contributing to this morning, he's saying, Trevor, and he's listening to it, how much notice were Tottenham given? It's the same for both teams.
Tottenham already had a
It's-
game.
The fact of the
Tottenham-
matter is
Yeah,
they
but
have to go
They
on
weren't
with
playing
it.
Fulham, were
Jim, Tottenham already had a game, so they're planning for a match. It doesn't matter who the match is against. So the players being readied, the training being tapered, certain players being rested, ready to go 100% for the Wednesday match. Doesn't change.
How much
It
training
just
would they have done from a Sunday night game to a Wednesday? A warm down on Monday.
But it's
Spurs. How much training would Spurs have done between playing Marine and playing Fulham?
Yeah, but they're already planning ahead. So players that played, like Dele Alli, doesn't normally play in the midfield for Tottenham. So they've already made changes for that Wednesday fixture. It's completely different, Simon. Fulham were planning to play on Friday. They played their game against Queen's Park Rangers on Saturday. Players might have played more than they needed to. If Scott Parker knew earlier, he could have rested some of them players that are going to be important for this game on Wednesday.
Well,